Gerard Hilary Osei-Boache is currently the Group Manager of Corporate Affairs for Golden Star Resources at Bogoso and Prestia. Until then, he was consulting in corporate and public relations, sustainable development, environmental, and marketing of not-for-profit organizations, managing the review of Ghana Wildlife Society's institutional and membership development program. Between December 2007 and November 2012, as the Sustainable Development Superintendent at Goldfields, Ghana, he was responsible for supporting the company's operations in Takwa and Damine in the western region of Ghana on sustainable development matters and community affairs relations. As a member of Goldfield Ghana's Sustainable Development Team, he played an active and vital role in the development and implementation of activities in the area of sustainable development policy and programs, environmental compliance, as well as community and stakeholder engagement consistent with the company's vision and values. At GFG, Gerard spent 3 years honing his corporate affairs and media relations skills in his initial role as Public Affairs Superintendent. He was seconded as Country Manager of the Ghana chapter of the Leadership for Conservation in Africa, overseeing the enhancement project of Shy Hills Resource Reserve. Gerard is a trained environmentalist and natural resource manager, specialized in integrated marketing, communication. He has 10 years working experience in corporate affairs, public and media relations, community engagement, corporate social responsibility and citizenship, official working experience in environment, forestry, and conservation issues. His experience is cut across particularly the extractive industry and the NGO sectors. He has a good insight in the mining industry's relations with government regulators, the Ghanaian media, and stakeholder communities. He is a good team player with experience and useful skills in working and managing cross-cultural teams in various operational fields. According to those who know him, he is fun-loving and a caring person. Today on Big Interview, we delve deeper into his personality and what drives him.
So this is the man that we're having a conversation with this morning. And I have so many questions for him, but it's just a conversation, so I don't want him to get nervous. Gerard, good morning.
Morning, but I'm nervous already because you've gone into my house.
I have.
You and your team, you've just launched into my house and I need to find a culprit.
Really? but this is you.
I know social media, you can find me on social media, although I'm not very active there, but there are some pictures there that I didn't expect to come out. But anyway.
So who do you suspect?
For now, it's wild. It's wide and wild. So I don't have any suspects yet. But by the time we finish talking, I'm quite smart. I'll find out.
Okay. Now, your wife is in the military.
Yes.
Yes. And, I asked you a question, why you were not in the military. You said you were.
Well, I wasn't in the military in Ghana,
Okay.
but I joined the British Army when I went for further studies there. So I was the Royal Logistics Corps, and I trained in Grantham. I was the only, for now politically correct, the dark-skinned person. I was the only Black African.
Wow.
In my squadron of about 300 people, and after a couple of weeks, I forgot that I was Black. Because it's a teamwork in the army, and it's togetherness, it's brotherness, and even with the ladies that were in the army with you, see some of my pictures, it was like, you may forget your gender, but we do things together. Yeah.
Is that why you married somebody in the army?
Well, I encouraged her. She has her own military history. Her father was in the army as well.
Okay.
Her father was a wing commander, and fortunately, or happily for the father, she was the only one of his children that joined the army, so he was quite proud of her. But
Okay.
I can say safely that I played a very important role in encouraging her to join the army when she was ready to decide what to do next after school.
That's great. Yeah. And your love for animals, tell us about it. I don't know why bats, though.
Well, it's generally for nature, but particularly bats because they're a strange, rare group of mammals, and they're quite close to us. They are the closest to us, even closer to us than even monkeys, primates, because of our biology. But then they're most persecuted. I mean, they persecuted because people think they're a nuisance, but they're very helpful to the environment. The insect-eating bats and the fruit-eating bats. They're two groups, and these help to propagate the seeds. They are the flying foresters, I call them, and the insect ones they clean our environment of the insects. But unfortunately for them, we find them in places where we think they're a nuisance to us. But the law has it that they are fully protected species, and that you can't just kill them. So a few years back when I started working in Wildlife Society, the Ghana Army wanted to exterminate them at 37.
At 37.
Then we came up with a class action against them, and we won. And the Army was told to come and talk to us on very humane ways of controlling them. Because in wildlife, we don't just allow animals to also run about. But we have things like culling, that's selective killing. We have animal control and all that. So we wouldn't have had a problem. I wouldn't have had a problem if the Army was subscribing to one of these activities to reduce and control the numbers. Because yes, wildlife can be a nuisance.
So have you controlled them?
Well,
because I still see them at them.
Well, they're still there. That's your home. I mean, it's mammals as we are, it's very difficult. Even look at a tenant-landlord situation. It's very difficult for you to eject somebody from its home. But what you can do is to control their numbers. So we advised in controlling the tree sizes. Those trees were supposed to be avenue trees. And avenue trees should have been controlled. But as soon as they assume forest sizes, obviously other forest species can inhabit them. You see, so that's the problem.
Your people are watching, actually, and so they are sending you messages right now.
I suspect.
It's normal. You can go ahead and put it on silent right now. It's not a problem at all. You can put it on silent right now. It's normal that if you're on TV and somebody's watching you, the person will pick up a phone and call you like, Gerard, I'm watching you on TV. Not knowing you can't actually answer the phone, so it's still fine.
No.
And so let's talk about who Gerard is. Reading your portfolio is very interesting, but there are people out there who haven't read your portfolio yet. And so let's get to know who the man Gerard really is. And even I want to know why your Gerard is Gerard and not Gerald.
So it's not Gerald because it is the original German one.
Okay.
And it's from Saint Gerard.
Okay.
So I think Gerald is an adulterated version of Gerard.
Okay.
So Saint Gerard of Majella is a patron saint for expecting mothers and all that. And my grandmother, who was a staunch Catholic and this thing for mothers, decided, or together with my mother, decided to name me Gerard because my mother lost the first child, and so with the second one, they had to probably do a novena to Saint Gerard or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, so that's how you got the name.
So that's Gerard, yes.
Wow.
Hillary is a different story.
Do you mind telling us about Hillary, though? Who are you named after with the name Hillary?
Hillary, Hillary Edmonds.
Okay.
The first guy that finally succeeded to surmount Mount Everest.
Okay.
So Hillary Edmonds is a one. And I think I wasn't well around that time. And I think the doctors had told my mom that I was dead.
Oh, wow.
But I think she was still holding on to me. And then finally probably started coughing and all that. And just around the same time, the news came out about Hillary Edmonds. So he just added, I was baptized already, so that couldn't have been my first name. So he added Hillary to such a great person.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Gerard. Today we want to know.
So I'm a Mayborn, 28th May, and born in Accra. I was born into a pretty big family. My aunties and uncles are 10. my grandmother and grandfather, same parents, right? Had 10 children, 3 sets of twins back to back, and 4 single ones. My mother was one of the set, and then she had a twin brother, and we had an interesting family. I think when my auntie started having children, my grandmother decided to stop. She was a teacher, a headmistress at St. Joseph's. Actually taught Rawlings.
Oh wow!
Yeah, at St. Joseph's. So she decided to retire, early retirement, and look after the grandchildren. And then in the process, she formed a nursery also named it after me, St. Gerard.
Oh.
Yeah, at Awudome. Yeah, so there were lots of kids in the neighborhood that used to come there for almost next to nothing, for almost free. And then my cousins also. So when my uncles were all busy working in the ministries, my cousins would come. And so my grandmother would bath us together, boys or girls, and we'll eat together on a big table. Georgiana is my cousin.
Right.
Yeah, my mother's sister, child. And so there were lots of them that we grew up together. Went to Christ the King, then St. Augustine's, and then, of course, Tech, the natural resource management there. And like I said, whilst at Tech, I was working for Wildlife Society as well. And so I got straight into employment there. And so it wasn't a very lucrative job, but it was a job that you have to do when you love what you're doing. So because it entails going for trek, counting birds. My father used to say, translated in tree when he was introducing me, oh, my son that works with wildlife, I'll say, so it's like if you don't really understand it, you think I'm fooling about, but that's what it was in terms.
I guess your mom is very proud of you.
Well, like any mother, but we're quite troublesome. So
Is it?
we call her.
But your mom is. Will you call her a stand parent?
She was. Most of my aunties were teachers, and they were all very strong-willed, strong-charactered. In Christ the King, one of my aunties was the headmistress, and she used to put us in line badly, Mrs. Gradu, and so we don't mess. The other children, other mates of mine would think, oh, your auntie's the headmistress. So no, it wasn't that, family and friends. I remember one time, one of my cousins was a long vac, and when he went home, the mum did jerry curls. When we got to school, my auntie shaved everything.
Oh wow!
My brother, the one you know, he used to dirty his white shirt. Crazy kid from primary to about class 2, we wear maroon.
Okay.
Because we play around in the sand. But when you become a senior, like when you get to class 3, you wear a white shirt. And then Kobe used to dirty his white shirt. And then one day my auntie just wore him a girl's dress and told him to go.
Oh wow!
Today he sees my auntie and said that was child abuse. I was seeing it. But that's how strict my parents were,
right.
Especially my mother's. And my mother was that strict. I have a story that I tell that when I went to university, that's the first. I didn't go to senior secondary school, by the way.
Oh really? What happened? How come?
I saw in your list because it was secondary school at that time. So we spent 6 years in secondary school.
Okay.
In boarding school.
In boarding.
And I remember when I first went to Tech, I came back. And, you come back and you think you're a guy. That's the first time you have a room to yourself. That's the first time nobody tells you when to sleep. You can go out with ladies, come back late, and no control. You come home and you feel you're a guy. And then one of those streaks happened, and then I went out for a long time. Came in the morning. When I came, my mother was saying her rosary, waiting for me. And then he mentioned something. I said, but you must be wasting your time because you sit here. Then there were no mobile phones. You sit here waiting for me and something happens. How can you stop it?
Yeah.
And if nothing happens to you, you would have wasted your time. And I think that at that time, the way I said it was not very pleasant at all. And I left her, I was going, and I had 2 double slaps.
Ooh.
This is the first year university boy. I just woke up and came to
From your
reality.
mom?
Yeah. And I turned around and I said, do you want more? Mrs. Kato, yeah. Years later, when I was visiting her in school, St. Benedict, she was telling the same story to a parent. But she was honest enough to say, but when he said that, I realized that they are adults, and I realized that there's nothing we can do but to pray for them when they go out and hope that they come back safe. But at that time, he was being a parent, and he wouldn't take that, But then here she was advising another parent to take time, manage teenagers with care. So yes, do it. But I mean, thanks to her, we had our own streaks in terms of young people. You'd go into a state and then. But I'm sure their prayers and support also made us come out of those.
She's very proud of you the day that you changed her car tie.
But so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't remember how old I was. She remembers, but I probably must have been about 8 or 9. And we were going to school in an old Volkswagen around Circle. Circle was a small circle, then traffic, and then the tire went flat. And then she kept standing there and saying in tree that, oh, I wish there was a man here to change it. I'm like, yo, am I a woman? Or I mean, with all respect, but I'm a man. I can change it. I said, no. So before she could say Jack, I was on. I just sat on, started putting the chokes, put on the jack, and then we changed it. And then by the time we finished changing, some driver stopped by and was like, said, oh, it's done. Madam, it's fine. You can go. And then we went. And
then you told her, you see, I'm a man now?
Yeah. I told her that, you see. And so I think after that, he was a bit careful.
Talking about your mother has gotten you a bit teary. Why?
I'm not that strong when it comes to emotions, but anyway. No, I don't know.
What about your mother makes you love her so much?
Oh, I mean, looking back, she did so much just to make it happen for us. Very interesting, funny story. I made, during those days, I can't remember, but it was tough for parents to provide provisions, Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. And then she used to buy tilapia, we call it D-Day, and she would dry it and drain all the oil and bottle it and then send us off to school. We were a bit shy because other kids were bringing corned beef, sardine and all that. Then one night we were eating, we were hiding to eat. Then one senior came and said, what's that? And we said, oh, fish. Where did you buy it from? We said, oh, we brought it from home. We said, you're lying. Because we thought we didn't want him to send us. So we have more in our chobox. This guy, obviously living in airport, loved D-Day, came, took all our D-Day and said, look, that's my chobox key. Anytime you want corned beef and all that. So we had to send SOS for more tilapia from my mom. But then that made us his friend, very good friend, because he lived a different life, a life that we thought was a bit embarrassing, but, was quite appreciated. So, I mean, these were things that she did that you look back and think that, oh, what a great mom.
She's very proud of you. Super proud of you.
So she's suspect number one. You've been talking to her.
She's super proud of you. And she's proud of your Saturday washing as well.
I didn't think about that. We'll mess up.
Used to wash on Saturdays. Please come, just give me the tissue. Thank you so much, Gerald. Let me just present you the tissue. Okay.
So there are some other subjects that we won't talk about because then we'll have to soak up the studio.
It's okay, don't worry. It's part of life. I mean, sometimes we have to go emotional when we talk about things that brings us memories and things we love the most as well.
But also this morning was a very, quite a very somber morning for me as well because we lost one of our friends from Christ the King, Amakwe. No. Yeah, so, but that's...
Oh, may the person so rest in peace. Now let's talk about the highs. Let's talk about
what?
The highs.
The highs.
Let's come into the highs. What got you into mining?
Okay, so after working with wildlife for so long, I was the fundraising officer and the marketing officer. So one of my responsibilities was to try and seek funding for some of the wildlife projects.
Right.
And then the conservation and environmental projects. But at that time, mining was a no-go area for environmentalists, civil society. Mm-hmm. You can't take mining money because mining was considered very bad, very destructive. But then by reading and researching, I realized that mining is not going to go away. And I realized that industry itself will not go away. But somewhere in the West and in Americas, industry is being made to be environmentally friendly. It hadn't caught up in Ghana at the time. These were not the days of climate change. It hadn't climate change at the start. There was talks about it. People didn't believe it. But then there were responsible business promotions and advocacy going on. So I thought, why should we wait? We can do the same. So I went to my boss, Professor Yaya Tamabedu, who was the founder of Wildlife Society at the time, and the husband, Professor Golding, and these were great thinkers. And I started discussing with them. I said, I don't really agree that we can't go to mining companies, because if they're doing something bad, this is the time for us to jump in and help them do something correct. If we jump in, we'll know whether it's true or not. But sitting back and watching them and accusing them wasn't right. So I started the corporate membership program in Wildlife Society with their help, with their support, and the support of my team. So we went around mining companies, doing presentations to them, and other companies, and then and promising them terrestrial ecological surveys, bringing our knowledge on environmental management to them. And then at that time, there were no mining standards as well in Ghana. We didn't have the mining laws. So companies were bringing some of their standards to bear in what they have to do. So through that, I met quite a lot of corporate affairs people, sustainability. Then we didn't even have sustainability people, but environmental managers, Tim Buchanan and co, from different mining companies. However, I didn't go straight to a mining company.
Okay.
So in one of my advocacy programs, a corporate affairs manager from one of the breweries saw me on TV and heard me on radio, and was very impressed, according to her, and was like, look, if this guy can sell animals this well, we need him here to sell our drinks.
Oh, so
But
that's how it happened.
so I took a detour. So I was headhunted by one of the breweries to be in their corporate citizenship department, and there we had a project, Water for Life, where we're sending filters, puri-taps, and digging boreholes for communities where our products were going to, or where we had no impact. We tried introducing new products, digging boreholes for them. And these were the days where we had floods in the north, and boreholes and wells were all destroyed. Yeah. So in the process, we partnered with the Air Force. Then my wife was not in with the Air Force, so I knew people. And then they distributed this thing.
Okay.
And that also apparently impressed another corporate affairs manager from a mining company.
Okay.
So in 2008, I went in, my Guinness boys gave me tickets. We sat down watching the football. And then this man sat next to me and said, hey, my friend, I saw you on TV, and I thought you would come and work with us, and you're chopping brewing money. And then so I'm still available. So how can you be available? I said, well, I'm on 6 months probation. I prostituted my best self a bit. And so I can come for an interview. To be honest, and thanks be to God. Oh, my God.
Oh, don't worry at all. It's
I
fine.
need to cut it.
It's fine. So I always say, whenever we are on TV, they'll call you. The people call you. They're watching you on TV. It's normal.
But it's not fair. You know,
They're going to be calling you because, they are seeing you on TV. So anyway, please, you can give it to me. I can put it by me.
that's still on. Let me just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we can continue with our conversation.
Yeah. So
Right.
so then he entered the chat with me and said, "Why don't you come and join us?" I said, "To do what?" He said, "Well, what you do best." And at that time, I didn't even know what I did best. So.
Okay, that's fine. So we're still having a conversation
So,
with
yeah.
Gerard. That's fine, Gerard. Please continue.
So I went after the match. We had a chat and said, "Oh, you got us into the membership thing, and now we have a good program on site. We don't kill animals. We think that we're very environmentally friendly, so we need to support our footprints." Then the discussion started happening internationally about mining companies supporting the sort of supporting their footprints, curing their footprints. So the idea so I can mention this company now, Goldfields, was for them they occupy an area in Takwa, almost 67 square kilometers, and they wanted to protect an equal area like that in conservation and wildlife. So they wanted ideas. So I said, "Oh, consultancy?" He said, No, you come and join us and let's think together. So I went, and the interesting thing was the man, Dr. Tony Obing, who was my friend, and because he was the corporate affairs person I was dealing with when I was in wildlife, said, "Oh, I know Gerard, so I can't be in this interview. I need to recuse myself." And then guys were 3 South Africans. I said, no problem, we'll talk to you. And then we started talking. And guess what? They talked about hunting, they talked about wildlife, they talked about fishing, and they talked about pubs for almost 45 minutes in Ghana because they were new. And when they finished, I said, so Gerald, when are you coming to work for us? I said, to do what?
Because we didn't have an interview.
When you come, we'll think about it. I said, but what are we talking? We just talked about my hobbies.
Right.
He said, yes, so you got a job for doing your hobbies.
Wow.
I said, whoa, okay. So Monday I came and then they just set me up and took me through the process and all that. So, I mean, I must thank God for that because I tell, when I get the opportunity to speak to the young ones, I said, it was God's doing, but also I think just by the way I organize myself and organize my engagement with people, I've never had to have an interview, like a job interview, because I bring everything to bear as well. And I thank God for it.
Are you intentional about the circle of friends you keep?
Yes, I would even make it stronger. I'm deliberate. And I have no apologies for that because at a certain stage in life, I mean, we allow ourselves, first of all, for the first few years, maybe up to 15, 16, we allow our family and to some extent our friends to influence us. It's difficult for us to control ourselves. Man. Then between probably, this is my own ideology, 16 to about 20, where you're an adult, you're thinking some other things are influencing you, maybe some lovers, some interest jobs, some profession. Then finally, you are in life where you want to start a life, when you want to start a family, where you want to do stuff, and then you have to be deliberate about the people you move around with.
Yeah.
And not, there's difference between being deliberate about people you move around with and taking advantage of people. No, I won't do that. But you need to be deliberate about people you move around with and then what you do. Because I think that to a very great extent, that would extend or promote what you want to achieve. So I'll give you an example of being deliberate. My mother is Fanti from Ntankofo and everything. I mean, Fantis are great, but my father is Ashanti. And my father used to take me a lot to Kumasi and Menchia and Jabin, where I come from. And I love the Ashantis. I have no inheritance there. I have no connection in terms of inheritance. But I've indulged, I've brought myself into the fabric of Ashanti culture. And at the last, at the funeral of the Queen Mother, I went and I told Cerebral that, and he was like, you serious? I said, yeah. And I joined the Etuntum for firing the musket.
Oh, wow.
And there were lots of people who they were surprised. Not surprised by the fact that I was not Ashanti, but even surprised that this guy looks like it. Why is he following these people?
Yeah.
But then I was being deliberate there. And I was being deliberate about what to do, what to support, the role to play, And I felt that it paid off, after the funeral.
Wow.
So
I'm learning a lot this morning, actually. Yeah, I'm learning a lot this morning because I'm like, wow, being this deliberate, and it's actually paid off.
Yeah.
It has paid off.
I mean, yeah.
But Gerald, let me ask you this. You're in the mining sector, and every government claims they can fight Galamsey. You are in there. Do you think Galamsey can ever be fought?
You see, it's a very... the question, I think, should be, do you think you can win the fight? Because the fight can be in very different forms. It's a livelihood thing. So the fight can be in a form of trying to making sure that you're providing enough livelihood or livelihood for people, which will make Galamsey unattractive. That's a fight. Okay, fighting with guns and bullets sometimes becomes necessary in certain areas where you realize that it's not a livelihood issue, it's a criminality issue. So I think it's very varied and it's respective. It depends on the area, it depends on what you're fighting, it depends on what you have in terms of the resources you have at the disposal. My very good friend is Martin AC, and he is one of the people that believe in local content, believe in making sure there's enough for everybody to play a role in mining. So small-scale mining, community mining, all these things. These are all measures. But if it's being done properly and it's being done in terms of connecting all the dots and all the aspects and the challenges in small scale and in illegal mining, then I think we would get somewhere. But it is an area that, from a corporate affairs point of view, I encounter every now and then. If you remember last year, I was in your studio here talking about our mines that were burnt down in Impoho. And I mean, that people is argued that, oh, it was done by Galamsey. The community came out so strongly and said it was not them. The community is in peace with us. It was the illegal miners that came to do this because they're not getting enough. The arguments are so many. And so I don't stay away from that, but I like to understand what aspects of it that we can fight in court, which will be to the mutual benefit of the people that are engaged in illegal mining and of the people that are impacted by illegal mining, like the formal mining companies.
So currently, the fight is ongoing. There's a type of fight that is being used, that, like you mentioned, the guns and violence. But you're saying other means will work. What other means should the government actually take on board?
Not that other means will work, and I'm saying depending on the area.
Okay.
But I'm saying a combination.
A combination, so it should be
because
together.
because definitely it's against the law when you go into somebody's concession where you don't have a license or the permit to mine. So that's criminality.
Right.
That there's nothing that anybody can do but the police or the government goes in and take you out. And these are people's investment. So definitely when you want to encourage investment, that is the way to go. Okay. But at the same time, these are communities that we live and work in. So you don't want them too antagonistic against us. Unfortunately, new information coming out also shows that a lot of people that engage in illegal mining don't even come from the community.
Right.
So that's what makes some of the other methods important. You know, if it's left to our own brothers and sisters in the community, we'll be happy and it's easy for us to start because we do stuff for the community. We engage them. We help them in terms of not even, if it's not even mining, other socioeconomic this thing. For example, Golden Star, we have the palm oil plantation.
Okay.
And this, I can tell you, a lot of farmers have taken their kids up to university level.
Oh, wow.
And some of them have paid, most of them have paid back their money. What the model is that we give them money to start a farm. They bring their farm, their lands, give them model, we give them the implements, and then when the fruits are ready, we buy them, help them sell them. Now we're thinking of a refinery right there so that will increase the employment base in there. So you may not have a farm, but you can work in a refinery or you can work in a farm.
That's nice. You know, some governments or some political parties, because they're not in government yet, are saying that they will legalize the illegal mining. Will it work? Will it help? Will it help reduce this whole Galamsey thing?
You see, that for me, it's a talk that has been happening a lot. But I think that they can refine their language to mean they would make it more sustainable or make it more environmentally friendly. Because you see, what we call illegal mining, there were subsistence, like when you say subsistence farming, there were small scale mining, which our grandfathers and sisters used to do, go by the river, take a few sand, wash it, clean it. Now they're using very dangerous chemicals to do that, spoiling our water. You see, so when you say things like you legalize illegal mining, what aspect of it? It's like saying you legalize armed robbery. So what aspect of it are you going to legalize? The fact that you can go into somebody's mine and just start mining without permit? So that is language, and I blame with this, I think is my area as well. So I'll blame the communication people for some of these parties. And it is true that some leaders and some people go out and talk and not make reference to their communication persons. In Golden Star, even if the MD wants to talk, we sit with him. Okay. And we don't sometimes put him up first to talk. The communicators, we do the talking. When we think we need another level of a messenger, then we go to the next level. If political parties would do the same and then engage their communications people, because there's some great communications people in the different parties, you see them, but the leaders or the campaigners make the statements before they come back and try and retract and apologize for those statements. Where in the first place, if we think about the plan and what we're going to say, and the impact we want, we will not even veer into those areas about making statements that we will legalize. And when you say this, all the community knows is that this is what gives us daily bread. So when he's going to legalize it, I will vote for him, knowing that after I vote for him, you can't legalize. It's like saying you can't. It's not a language you have to
become
speak.
like